£700 or dollars or €800 for the new PlayStation 5 Pro, and that's not even the full cost. The PlayStation 5 Digital at the moment sells for what? Just under $400, so not far off double that price. And for what? An extra 30 frames per second in graphics mode and a bit more storage? And if you want to play any of those physical games that you've accumulated over all these years, you'll need to shell out an extra $100 or so for the optional external disk drive and an extra $30 again if you want the vertical stand. That's right, it doesn't even come with the damn stand. Am I missing something here? Because I remember when the PS4 Pro came out in 2016, and I remember exactly how much more expensive it was compared to the original PS4 released 3 years prior. Zero. It was no different. Both were released here in the UK at £349, making the decision to upgrade a fairly trivial one. In 2020, the digital version of the PlayStation 5 released at £359, but for some reason, Sony have decided that $700 or $730 with the stand is the price point for the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is actually over double the cost of the original digital PS5. Now, if you don't already have a PlayStation and you've been considering buying one, this might be the model to go for. Although there are sure to be a ton of PS5s about to hit the second-hand market. But if you already have a PlayStation 5, £700 is a lot of money, especially for what you're really getting, or not getting if you like to stand your console vertically and play the physical disc games. £700 does get you a 2TB SSD, which I guess is nice and will save you having to constantly juggle games on your console compared to the PS5 stock drive of 825GB. You can, however, always just buy an NVMe drive for between £100 and £200, and that's that problem solved. You'll get a new DualSense controller and a pre-installed copy of Astro's Playroom, which I guess is also nice, but at the same time, kind of... Everything else is all about graphics quality and graphics performance, and it's here that Sony are hedging their bets. The new GPU has 67% more compute units and 28% faster memory. Sony reckons that this will result in 45% faster rendering for gameplay, making for a much smoother experience. But what does that even really mean? Well, simply put, it removes the need to make that choice between graphics mode, or fidelity, and performance mode. You get the best of both worlds instead of having to sacrifice one for the other. Or do you? Did anyone else notice what Mark Cerny actually said?
Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the big three involved, the results can be pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like fidelity levels of detail.
Something like. Now, maybe that's just me reading too much into the specific words that he spoke, but to me that was kind of like saying, not quite as good as fidelity mode, but nearly there. And if that's true, this surely makes the PS5 Pro the most expensive, lowest value for money, mid-generation upgrade of all time. Even taking Sony's big three into consideration, the improved AI upscaling through PSSR, the upgraded ray tracing, and that improved graphical performance, the whole presentation and reveal just felt very flat and uninspiring. No new games were launched to show off this new hardware, and there was no mention of GTA 6 compatibility, which I'm sure would have been a massive deal if it had been included. Only a handful of existing games will be updated to make the most of this £700 upgrade. Games like Alan Wake 2, Demon's Souls, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hogwarts Legacy, Gran Turismo 7, Spider-Man 2, The Last of Us 2, and a few others. With the exception of Demon's Souls, which I am absolutely embarrassingly pathetically bad at. I've played those games already, and as good as some of them are, I'm just not sure I really want to replay them for a slight improvement in graphics or performance. And we're really not talking about huge improvements. You only have to look at the example comparisons in the showcase. They certainly weren't night and day different. We're talking about improvements to background objects, blades of grass, and reflection in cars. They're nice, don't get me wrong, but are they £700 nice? Historically speaking, it was always the case that console gaming was the much cheaper option compared to PC gaming, at least in terms of hardware. PC games tend to cost less, so that kind of levels out over time, but the release of the PlayStation 5 Pro will see that cost gap narrowing in a way that we simply haven't seen up until now. And although we're still away from the cost of PC gaming, it is a step toward it. It's also now abundantly clear that Sony are really pushing for digital-only gaming, and why wouldn't they be? Not only will they essentially wipe out the entire market for second-hand games, they will also get to control everything about how we purchase and consume games. Not even having an option for a PS5 Pro with a built-in disc drive is a significant shift, and I will bet you dollars for donuts that those disc drives will be hard to get hold of. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they were already out of stock. I know I'm just one of many voices that are saying that the PlayStation 5 Pro isn't good value for money, and before the price was revealed, I was pretty certain that I'd end up buying one. But when that hammer blow of £700 came right at the very end, well, I just don't think I can justify that, and I don't think that Sony did a good job of convincing me, or anyone else for that matter, either. Having said that, I'm sure that pre-order sales will be sky high when they go live on September the 26th, and stores will be out of stock within minutes when the PS5 hits shelves on November the 7th. But I'm pretty sure I won't be buying, especially since these days I do a lot of my PlayStation gaming on the Portal, which unfortunately will see no benefit at all from a Pro version of the PS5. Please let me know what you think in the comments section below, because one thing is for sure, this console is going to split the gaming community wide open, which I've kind of missed. It's like the good old days of Xbox versus PlayStation. And on that subject, come on Microsoft, Sony have shown us their hand, it's time for you to show us what you've got. As always, thank you for watching, and a special thanks to anyone that has liked, commented or subscribed. Means a lot.